Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Hello, everybody! I'm Blade Daly. Welcome back to Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, a pro wrestling podcast about pro wrestling. I'm back here with my co-host, with the one and only, the best Canadian pro wrestling podcaster in the history of pro wrestling podcasts, Joshi G. Joshi G. How are you? How are your holidays, soul sister?
I'm good. My holidays
we don't have time for that right now because we got a lot to talk about, and it's not about the goddamn holidays. Nobody cares. But surely, a lot has happened in AEW, right? I mean, like, we haven't talked since World's End. Should we get into it?
Yeah, of course we should.
No, we are not going to get into it because everybody has already talked about World's End. Everybody already knows what happened on Dynamite, except that Ricochet is a fucking psycho. But that's not even the point. The point is, this is not just a podcast about AEW, folks. It's also about pro wrestling worldwide. And we are celebrating the biggest weekend in Japanese wrestling this weekend with Wrestle Kingdom 19 and the very first co-branded event in Japan. New Japan and AEW and CMLL present Wrestle Dynasty. And we have found just the man to help us bring us up to speed on the happenings that are going on in New Japan right now. And his name, Antione Raphael. So, without further ado, I bring you that discussion right now.
Aha!
We are blessed this episode to be joined. We wanted to talk about Wrestle Kingdom. We wanted to talk about Wrestle Dynasty, but neither one of us has been following this shit on the weekly basis that it deserves. But we did know somebody who does. His name, Antione Raphael. Sir, welcome to the show.
Hello, Antoine.
Hello, Joshi. Hello, Blade Daly. Thank you for having me. Yes, I am that guy.
You are that guy. And I knew it, so I hit you up. We made it. We made plans, and here you are. You showed up early, like a true professional. And I have some questions for you, sir. When did you start watching wrestling?
Ooh. In general, probably when I was about, as far back as I can remember, 10 years old, maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you watch? What was it? Was it like WWF? Was it WWE? Was it WCW? What was it?
My parents, whom got me into wrestling, they were sort of, they liked to go into both bags, but mostly it was NWA, WCW with some WWF thrown in. So I got kind of a mixed bag from both.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I'm so jealous of both of you. You both have parents who watched wrestling. Mine did not.
The one thing they have that I admit that I so desire to get one day is they have a tape collection of all of the Halloween Havocs and old pay-per-views and stuff. So there's a treasure trove there.
That's badass. When did you discover New Japan? Was it through that watching NWA, WCW, or was it some other way?
I would probably say I would have discovered Japanese wrestling probably when I was knee-high to adult, probably because of the great Muta, Keiji Muta. Mm-hmm. That's where it started.
Oh.
I think so many of us got into it because of him. And those days, it's hard to find that anywhere. So I tried to keep up with it as much as possible, and internet helps. I think it got full blown when the app New Japan World first launched. Mm-hmm. And I had nothing but access and nothing but time.
That's awesome. Muta was my gateway as well. Like the very first time I ever saw a WCW, it was Ric Flair versus Great Muta on the WCW Saturday Night Show before it was actually called WCW Saturday Night. And I saw Muta blow the mist in Flair's face. And I was like, oh, what?
Classic moment.
Muta is like top 5 greatest ever. Like he's so amazing. And then I saw a picture of Jushin Liger in Pro Wrestling Illustrated in like 90, 91, something like that. And I'm like, who the hell is that? And then he showed up in WCW wrestling Brian Pillman. And
with him in his 23 belts.
Yes. And he just did stuff I had never seen before. You know, it was incredible. So yeah, those two guys are really, you know, what made me aware of New Japan. But yeah, it was a long time before I could watch it regularly. I was never a tape trader or anything. So that was, you know, New Japan World becoming available. I was like, sign me up. Because I wanted to watch the archives as much as I wanted to watch the current product, you know.
Staying here, that was the big seller for me. And I've been a member since the pandemic, a little bit before. And, you know, you have those bills that you forget about, that you wish you hadn't forgot about. But that's one bill I do forget about, and I don't care.
Right.
It's worth every penny.
Yeah. New Japan World is great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
$10 a month, and it's like you get so much from it, you know. And I know you're a New Japan first kind of fella. So what sets New Japan apart from everything else for you?
I feel that New Japan, when I watch them, I get a sense of fierceness. I get a sense of taking what wrestling is, professional wrestling, seriously. You're not going to see too many off-the-wall gimmicks or things of that nature. Nothing wrong with them if you like that, but that doesn't really go there. Just some of the most hard-hitting action, and an individual can lose, unlike a certain other company, and it's not going to be the end of their career for the next 2 or 3 years. You know, it's all about redemption. It's all about getting back up and climbing yourself back to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're just wicked violent as hell.
Yeah, that is undisputedly true. And I totally see that as like, I like that. You know, I wish AEW would even lean into that a little harder, is like, you know, you can lose, like everybody loses, you know, it's like, it's the arc of the character is to climb, you know, and sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, but like the fighting spirit is really told over an entire career. It's not just one match, you know. And
exactly what makes Darby so great.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And you don't need to protect wrestlers so much. AEW runs into that sometimes, and I'm not sure why. Everybody loses, and that's okay. And Antoine, I was just thinking about when I first watched NJPW. So my husband and I, we were just in complete shock because it was so different from anything else we had ever seen. It was serious, and the wrestlers just seemed so cool in that company. They're all working so hard, and they're hitting so hard, and the wrestling matters way more than anything else. And I was like, oh my God, this company actually understands that. So I completely get what you mean. Like, New Japan has such a special place in my heart. And there's a reason why Kenny Omega's return match is going to be there, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
I know there was probably some controversy about that from a lot of people who don't understand, but that's where Kenny got his start. That's where Kenny's career flourished. Those are the people who embraced Kenny as one of their own. And one of the things I love also is their embracing of wrestling tradition, wrestling history. They don't care about who the promotion the person works for that they're going to speak about. It does not matter to them. It's professional wrestling, and that's what I love about them. And they're always educating like newcomers, even during the middle of a doggone show. I guarantee you it'll happen tonight at Wrestle Kingdom. At least once or twice, Chris will educate somebody on something you didn't know.
I think that's what New Japan has done so well. You know, even though Kevin Kelly had a failed run in AEW, I think he's a bit missed sometimes in New Japan because he was a master storyteller. He always could tell you why the two guys in the ring felt the way they did about each other, what their career record was against each other for the most part, you know, why, you know, this person might seem extra angry at this guy because they're all speaking Japanese for the most part. We don't know. And Kevin was a master at bringing the American audience in and really telling the story of these rivalries. It's a huge reason why I became so educated about New Japan myself.
Same here.
Education aside, Antoine, my friend, we brought you here for a reason. And that reason is this weekend is arguably, until at least summer, the biggest weekend in New Japan's calendar year. And it's even bigger this year than I can remember it being ever. So January 4th is historically just a very special day. It's the Tokyo Dome Day for New Japan every single year. And it fell at a very fortunate time this year. I'm going to watch it, some of it live and some of it tomorrow. But we wanted to talk to you about this card. And then the following day, they follow it up with AEW, AEW talent in kind of mixed show, Wrestle Dynasty. And so we want to run through that card with you, even though people listening to the show have probably already know what happened at Wrestle Kingdom. We want to talk about the stories that led into these matches, what Antoine's the most excited about, what we're excited about, and really celebrate New Japan.
Sounds great.
Wrestle Kingdom usually has a Rambo, and they are doing it this year to determine the number one contender to the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not sure who's actually entered in this match. Does anybody know anybody particularly?
I don't know at the moment. Antoine, do you know who's in that match?
They do this on purpose. I have no idea who's going to be in the Rambo. You never do. As Blade Daily mentioned, they do hold it every year at the beginning, and it's a real toss up on who could be in there. There could be veterans, young lions, there could be members of other promotions, which always happens. It's just the first time that it's ever had this high of a stake put to it. So I expect something major to actually happen at this Rambo instead of just being, I don't want to say a time filler, but just being entertainment only.
Yeah, that's usually how it works in New Japan.
Right.
Kind of matches, it's true.
And I believe pinfalls count in a Rambo too, right? Like people can get pinned as well as thrown over the top. And yeah, okay. So that'll be fun.
So the next one is the four-way Tokyo Terror ladder match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, which I'm actually really excited about. This is the first time that we get a ladder match at Wrestle Kingdom, so really, really neat. And it's intergalactic jet setter, so Kevin Knight and Kushida versus Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita versus Catch 22, TJP and Francesco Akira versus Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. This could be a really great match. I love Robbie Eagles, by the way. What do you think, Antoine? Who would you like to win? What are your impressions of this being the first ladder match on Wrestle Kingdom show?
I'm surprised that they put a ladder match on the show. I guess they just recently added Tokyo Terror. I was giggling about that. I think this has the settings to be an excellent match, mainly because you got the Ichiban Sweet Boys from TMDK, which is led by Zack Sabre Jr. They just won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, and the Intergalactic Jet Setters are the champs. Typically, it's the winners of that tournament get just the challengers, but they had so many issues that they went ahead and added Bullet Club War Dogs and Catch 22, who is from the group that used to be headed up by Will Ospreay, the United Empire. Yeah, with the contrast in styles, I would least like to see anything involving the Bullet Club War Dogs, just in general. Not a big fan of their style, though they do have a great little man, big man type of combo with Drilla Maloney, who's right at that cruiserweight line. I think it has the chance to either be, I still think it'll boil down to either the winners of the Best of the Super Junior and the champions. And with a lot of TMDK on the card this year, I wouldn't be surprised for an upset, but I kind of want the champions, to keep the titles. They can sometimes have a tendency to belt hop with the junior tag titles. So I'd like them to see them stay there for just a little bit of time.
Yeah. In my experience as a fan, the junior tag titles kind of aren't treated very seriously. And sometimes I wonder why they even exist. You know, the New Japan hasn't exactly had the hottest tag division at various points over the last 10 years or so, but they've also had really good tag teams at other times. And so, yeah, it's just cool that these titles are put in a marquee match like this that could be a show stealer. You know, that's pretty cool. This is a match that Antoine and I were talking about before we started recording. The singles match for the IWGP Women's Championship. Champion Mayu Iwatani versus Azumi. I think we all have a lot we could say about this. Antoine, weigh in, please.
This is one of the matches I'm the most excited for on this whole card. I like the fact that they're putting the IWGP Women's Championship on the card. It would have been disappointment if it had not have been. And Azumi, she's 26. She's up and coming, and I really like her style, but Mayu Iwatani has done such a great job of dedicating herself to the IWGP Women's title, even through working with Stardom, giving up a title to just focus on just this title. So the fact that they're having, especially this year, they're having title defenses more regularly. Her last title defense, I believe, was either October or November. So it's only been a couple of months, but this is one that I absolutely can see is going to be a banger, and I hope it gets the crowd into it enough that what comes out of this is that more content for Stardom will be available on NewJapanWorld.com, more matches at more shows, which was the entire goal.
I completely agree with you, Antoine. So I've been watching Azumi for a long time. I think when I first started watching Stardom, she was like 18 or 19 years old, and I thought, oh my God, she is so young and so good. And of course, she's only gotten better. She's an incredible wrestler. So I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be stellar. I do have a question for you about Mayu, though. So, agreed, Mayu is one of the best female wrestlers ever. I love her. She's been doing an excellent job with the IWGP Women's World title. I read that she announced that she retired from the 5-star GP in Stardom, so she's not going to be in the 5-star GP anymore. Something along those lines. Did you hear about that?
I did actually hear about that. It would be sad if she did, retire from it. But I think it goes along with her focus, though. Like that, the 5-star GP, just like the G1, takes up a large amount of time. Sometimes they're doing they'll double up in the same arena, do a show during the day and then a show at night during their tournament times. And although it would be a loss, I think it would be a gain for New Japan to really be able to utilize her time to represent them.
So you think Mayu retains?
I think Mayu does retain here.
I agree. I think that's the most likely outcome, but I think Azumi gets a spotlight and a chance to show just how good she is. She had a great match with Mercedes, I believe, quite a while ago.
Well, it was a triple threat.
That's right. It was a triple threat. But, you know, Mercedes was calling her AZM and, you know, like kind of taunting her a lot. And no, it's going to be great. And, you know, Iwatani obviously won this title from Mercedes. So these are women who could absolutely steal the show, I think.
Yeah. Very excited for that one. Okay, so the next match, 4-way match for the NJPW World Television Championship. Ren Narita versus Jeff Cobb versus Ryohei Oiwa versus El Phantasmo. Hopefully I pronounced Ryochai's name correctly. So what are you thinking? Who do you think wins this match? What are your thoughts?
There was nothing wrong with that try, by the way. Because he has a tough one. I still have to say it so many different times. I know that the only thing that I want to happen in this match is, for the love of all that's great and holy, to all of the wrestling gods and universes, let it not be Ren Narita. That is it. So I'm going to reverse pick that any outcome that involves him losing the title would be an acceptable outcome. El Phantasmo is just coming back from a horrible scare, so it's nice to see his face again. Ryohei Oiwa, he's also with TMDK. He's another one of those up-and-coming younger stars who I think are going to have a brighter future than certain other stars who are later on this card. And Jeff Cobb is a former champ. And it's hard to really put your money against anybody other than Jeff Cobb. As long as he's in the match, that's the one I'm going to watch the most, because he's going to toss all of them around. But I think it's going to be an upset, and El Phantasmo walks out with the title.
Okay, so you have the exact same prediction as me, because I think it would be really nice after what he went through to win that belt. He's been through hell, the poor guy, and he is terrific. I love ELP.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so that's my pick. Blade.
I have the same pick. I was thinking the same thing. I think El Phantasmo, it's a good story, you know. The television championship has been kind of that foreigner title in a sense too. I don't know what's happened with Ren Narita, just because I haven't paid super close attention to New Japan, but I cannot stand anybody in the House of Torture. It's just
me neither.
That name is being taken too literally. Like, it is torture to watch their matches. It is terrible.
It has become that way. You have not missed anything in that regard.
Yeah, it's you know, we're about to touch more on that. So let's just go there now. We have a lumberjack match with the ace of New Japan, the ace of the world of all time, Hiroshi Tanahashi, greatest white meat babyface ever, versus Evil. If Tanahashi loses, he has to retire from in-ring competition. He has already announced that he's retiring next year around this time. It's making the outcome, kind of telegraphs the outcome a little bit. And I really want Evil to lose. That's as simple as I can make it. Antoine?
That's as simple as I can make it. I just really want him to lose. The Lumberjacks are a side note for me in this one. It's Tanahashi. He said he's the most white meat babyface, and that is absolutely true. Period. I can't think of except for maybe on the women's side, Willow Nightingale. I can't think of anybody who's a bigger babyface on the planet. And all I'm rooting for is for him to win here. He would spend his entire year just gearing up for this. And I just don't think it's time for him in this one more year and then walk away.
Yeah, I don't see him losing to the guy people legitimately despise. The way, like, go away, Heat, like Evil. I don't see Tanahashi ending his career that way.
I feel the same way as both of you. I'm not a fan of Evil. It's a shame. I used to like him before he joined House of Torture, but I have not been feeling him the past few years. I have no interest in his matches. They're all the same. So I'm definitely rooting for Tanahashi. Plus, Tanahashi is just so lovable, so not rooting against him.
Go Ace.
Go Ace. All right, next match. Ooh, okay, this one's going to be fun to discuss. Winner takes all match for the Never Openweight Championship and AEW International Championship. Shingo Takagi, who is the Never Openweight Champion, versus Konosuke Takeshita, who is the AEW International Champion. So this is exciting. So stoked for this match.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little.
Could
a
be
little
match of
exciting.
the night. Yeah. So Antoine, who do you predict will win? What are you looking forward to most in this match?
I am looking for it to be the hardest hitting damn contest of massive man meat going today to last about at minimum 30 minutes with two of my favorites and two of the best in the world. The openweight title is synonymous with Takagi, and Takeshita they've been true to their word. They've been defending it internationally like crazy. It's such a hard one to pick, but I think that you can't let Takeshita drop the AEW International title here. So I do think he picks up the win against Shingo because it's going to play into what happens the next night.
Right.
Joshi, what about you?
Oh, I completely agree with Antoine. I think Takeshita's winning this one. Very excited for this match. Both these guys are amazing. I can't believe we're finally getting this. And I just want to see Takeshita in New Japan as much as possible. And by winning the Never Openweight title, he can make more appearances. He could wrestle, have a lot more matches against wrestlers that we haven't seen him wrestle yet. So I think the best case would be for Takeshita to win. Again, I love Shingo, though. It's just when I look at what would make the most sense, it would be Takeshita continuing to wrestle in New Japan. I think New Japan really likes Takeshita. And I think that because New Japan has given AEW so much, there's probably some kind of an agreement where New Japan can use Takeshita as much as they'd like. That's my impression, anyway.
Your impression is right because the reception that he got just at the G1 was absolutely phenomenal for every single match.
Yeah.
He has a star aura around him right now that is undeniable. And I mean, that's the thing that blew me away. Every time he wrestled at the G1 this past year, the crowd is on their feet. They're going crazy for this guy. Shingo's a guy, he can lose, and it doesn't really matter. You know, like he's Teflon. Like nothing sticks to Shingo. I still want my boy Shingo to get a world title run. I hate that he was only the champion during the pandemic. He deserves so much more than that.
He does.
But there are no losers in this match, guys. Like, even if Shingo somehow manages to beat Takeshita and become the AEW International Champion, I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
So it's really like, that's an interesting outcome as well. But I agree. Konosuke Takeshita takes this one. I think Konosuke Takeshita I still have him earmarked as a future IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I really do.
Oh, yeah, I can see that happening down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it happening as well, as much as the fans love him.
Yes. Yes. And I think we are maybe a year or less away from Takeshita being one of the most recognizable outside of WWE wrestlers in the world, period. So then after that, I mean, this card is so stacked. So after that, we have a IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match with Dookie, who is the current champion, which is shocking to me because the last time I saw Dookie, he was kind of a lower card guy, versus Despy, El Desperado. Looking for your impressions on this one, Antoine, because I really haven't kept track of the juniors super well the last few years. How do you feel about this matchup?
I'm actually interested to see how this one goes. Doki has been on a real upward trajectory this year. Ever since he took the title from, oh my goodness, I believe it was Master Wato, he has really stepped up his game, in my opinion. He's filled that hole that was kind of left by Hiromu, wanting to do all sorts of Hiromu things. And he's one of those that I did not think was going to pan out as well as he has gotten to pan out. And to be able to go against the best junior in the world, period, plain and simple, El Desperado. The setup was essentially, I want a title match against you. Okay. You want one? I want to fight you anyway. Here we go. Let's go have a good match. I think it's time for El Desperado's moment in Wrestle Kingdom. So I'm going with the challenger.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think, Despy has really, I remember when he was part of Suzuki-gun, and I remember, I liked him, but, I didn't see him in like marquee matchups years ago. And now seeing him be, like you said, the greatest junior in the world. Like, he has risen so far so fast. And then Doki, like you said, really also he was a Suzuki-gun guy too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he was. And was a part of Just Five Guys and is still.
And to see him where he's at now, wrestling in the Tokyo Dome, you couldn't have told me that a few years ago at all. During the pandemic, neither one of these guys is where they were, or it is where they are, or even was somebody I could have earmarked as being where they are now. But here we are. They're fantastic, both of them. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm going with El Desperado. I think he deserves it. He's become so popular, and he's improved a lot significantly. I also really want him to team up with Starlight Kid again because I think they make a great team. So yeah, I'm going with him. But it's nice to hear that that Doki has improved. I mean, I haven't seen him wrestle in a while. I've fallen behind on New Japan, unfortunately, but that is good to hear because he used to be a jobber essentially. So they've both grown a lot, and that's great. I'm happy for both of them. Singles match for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. So it's David Finlay versus Yota Tsuji. So what are your thoughts on this match, and who do you think the winner will be? Go ahead, Antoine.
This is an interesting one. For just a little bit of background, the global heavyweight title was basically combined with the U.S. and the British version that Will Ospreay made on himself, and combined by David Finlay at last year's Wrestle Kingdom. One of the only stains on Finlay's resume is the fact that he has not beaten Yota Tsuji. And he beat him at the New Japan Cup. That still kind of eats at him. So he actually challenged Yota Tsuji to this match at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Create a Character, David Finlay. But if I had to, pick, I think based on who is going to be challenging the next night, I do think that he does win.
Finley?
Finlay will win over Yota Tsuji, who has a very bright career, very bright, but he's had a lot of title matches really quickly. And I think maybe he just needs just a little bit of a step back just for now.
I'm with you, Antoine. I like Tsuji, but I don't think he's ready for the kind of push that they want to give him. I don't think he's ready for it yet. You know, I agree with you. He's gotten so many title shot opportunities. And don't get me wrong, he has a great look. He wrestles well, but I don't think he's there yet. So yeah, I think David Finlay is going to win this one as well. iBlade?
I'm going to be a contrarian. I think Tsuji's going to take this one. I think that David Finlay and the War Dogs in general have been kind of a flop as far as I'm concerned. This is the end of the Bullet Club legacy as far as I go. I just don't think that it can go any further. Right. I don't think that the War Dogs have done a particularly impressive job of representing it. And they're trying to make it their own thing, which I respect, you know? Like, I don't think David Finlay is like a bad wrestler. I just don't see him as a leader of Bullet Club, really. It's never fit him. And I think he'd have problems standing out kind of anywhere. And if he can't do it in New Japan, I don't really know where else he could. So I think I'm going to say I think Yota takes this one. And there's another guy whose push is debatable that is coming up real shortly on this list. And I know our friend Antoine has something to say about it. So we'll get there soon. But Joshi, why don't you let us know what's next?
Sure. All right. So the next singles match is Tetsuya Naito versus Hiromu Takahashi. So, Antoine, I'll tell you this and then I'll let you speak. Give us your thoughts. Let you speak. You're not allowed to talk. I didn't mean it that way. So, personally, I want Takahashi to win this match. I love Naito, but he's past his prime. You know, I think we could get a good match out of this because Takahashi is just so freaking incredible. But I think New Japan has to make the right call here, and Naito has to put Taka over. So, Antoine, give me your thoughts. Oh, okay, iBlade.
Full disclosure, Antoine, can you answer me a question? Who's your favorite wrestler?
Tetsuya Naito.
Tetsuya Naito. Oh, okay. Okay, so Tetsuya Naito is your favorite wrestler. Okay. So what is your opinion on who should win this match, and is Tetsuya Naito past his prime?
There are some things in life that you have to accept when it's time, you know, when you're past your prime, when it's time to hang it up. I just think my guy needs a little bit of time off.
Mm-hmm.
He has had his last surgery on his eye. And I know that a lot of people saw, including myself, how much he struggled just a little bit during G1. His knee was not right. Doing that tournament right after was not good for him. I'm excited as heck because this is a match that they've been trying to actually do for 4 years.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic.
Right.
It's true.
And since when he was champion, and so it's finally the mentor and the mentee, the wonderful Japanese story. And my heart says Naito, my head says Hiromu.
Antoine, I'm very sorry. I do love Naito very much.
I'm editing this out. Your apology is totally being edited out. It's way funnier.
Why can't it be? Why are you doing that? I love Naito. I do. I mean, you should have given me some kind of a warning. I'm saying he's past his prime.
I mean, past his prime was harsh.
No, I mean, come on, guys.
Like, that hurt.
It hurts because, right? Like, he's not in his physical peak anymore.
Okay, I'll accept that. He is not at his physical peak anymore.
What I was trying to say was that in terms of his physical peak, he's not there right now, but it's not his fault. The guy's been taking, so many beatings for the past, who knows how many years at this point. It feels like forever, over 10 years. So, I mean, it's understandable type of thing.
Well, and I mean, look, everybody's body ages differently, and Naito has a very serious condition with his eye, and he's had multiple surgeries on it. Every time he has surgery on it, he wrestled an entire year where he was seeing like triple. And that was a year where he was going to win the title, and they needed him to gut it out. So this poor guy is wrestling, seeing 3 of people, and making it work. So like this guy has given his entire life and body to the wrestling business, and his knees are fucked, and there's no shame at all in him being where he is now. He has been a warrior for New Japan at a time where they desperately needed him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the all-time greats. Fucking Destino and that entire, he took Los Ingobernables so much further than the actual founders of Los Ingobernables ever did. Rush and Andrade and all those dudes, like, Naito took their gimmick and like literally made it what it is. So like, he, nobody's actually harping on Naito. I just thought it was funny. Because I actually agree with you, Joshi. Like, I do agree that it's not the peak of his career. I think he needs to take time off and just reassess whether he can actually still do this and whether it's good for him to still do this. And, and if it's not, hey, you're like one of the all-time greats. There's no shame in that,
And as a fan, I would love for him to take some time off.
Yeah.
I would love for him to. It doesn't seem like he's been able to since Forbidden Door last year. He's been going constant, and it's time for him to take a break.
He needs a break. Everything tranquilo.
Yeah, it's time for some tranquilo for our boy, Mr. Tranquilo. Yes. Okay, and last match of Wrestle Kingdom. And this one, I think, is we have some spicy takes coming here.
Okay.
The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the current champion, our boy Zack Sabre Jr. versus the young upstart, Shota Umino. Antoine, who you got here?
If I was to be frank, I don't think this match should be happening. At all. I am so happy for Zach, who has earned this more than anybody. And fun fact, it'll be the first main event where both of the participants are main eventing for the first time at Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't a big fan of how hastily it was put together. After Shota's run in the G1, even the commentary was leaning towards you need to step up, but you still got a shot anyway. I don't feel like he's done enough. It's very obvious that they are trying to turn him into a Tanahashi clone. Mm-hmm. When I think it's better for him if he would have stayed more in the edgier type of persona he had with Mox. Mm-hmm. So I think we have a champion who is going against a challenger who is completely outmatched. And so Zach's going to have to kind of carry this. The outcome of the match for me is in no doubt. It will be Zack Sabre Jr. But I do wish that they waited a little bit longer before they put Shota Umino in the main event.
So, Antoine, I completely agree with you. I'm a huge fan of Zack Sabre Jr. And when he won the world title, I was so freaking happy. Long overdue. feel like I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and I would even get frustrated at times because instead of putting it on somebody new, they would just keep putting it on the same wrestlers. And I thought, why don't you put it on Zach for a change? He's been working his ass off. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, the best technical wrestler in the world, period. And I just don't understand why they put Shota Umino in a position like this so quickly. He is very good. He has a lot of potential. I know he's over, but I was pretty perplexed by when I saw that this was going to be the main event and that he was challenging Zack Sabre Jr. I don't think he's on Zack's level yet. I'm completely with you. I think this is too quick. Kind of like what we were saying earlier about Tsuji. I like him. He has potential, but calm down. There are others there that can carry NJPW right now, like Zack. We mentioned Shingo. So I'm totally with you. I think that Zack absolutely needs to win this match. I think he will. And as for Shota, again, he's a good kid, promising future, but I also find this a little bit too soon.
I agree with both of you. I like Shota Umino. I want to be clear about that. I liked him the last several years. I could see his potential growing. I know that some people didn't think he did great in Rev Pro. I have an interesting idea because, one, I don't think they've exhausted the potential for Zack's title run. That's thing number one. Like, they haven't. He's not. There's no reason to change the title right now, really, right? And two, Zack can carry this company for a while. He's at the peak of his career right now. And why change horses when you don't need to? So what I would do as Shooter is have him lose this, have him lose the next night, send him on a 6-month excursion to AEW, have him join the Death Riders, and then have him come back. Because I think he needs some more seasoning in an environment where he's not being like, is he ready yet? Is he ready yet? He's like the old man yelling at the microwave, like, are you done yet? Like, I want my burrito. He's kind of, the New Japan burrito in the microwave right now. Let's not do that to the guy. Like, it's not really fair to him. And put him in a position where he can grow organically a little more and get some actual television experience that will make him a better top guy when he's ready. That's what I would do. But that's just my opinion.
I actually kind of can see and understand that perspective because every time that he has been in AEW, the fans have eaten him up. His matches have been good, even though they've been mostly tag matches. The one main event that he had at what was it, Forbidden Door, the tag match, that was given 5 stars. He has the talent. I just don't think that, as you said, they're not putting him in a position right now where having a bunch of tag matches with Tomoaki Hanma, who is a great wrestler, but who can barely move, is not really helping him.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's clear that management has really high expectations for him. And I would hate to see them shotgun him into a position he's not ready for. That's like redoing what they did to Naito, and I detected definitely during the G1 that the crowd was kind of turning on him a little bit. And that's exactly what happened with Naito, and Naito, what happened? He had to go away and he became tranquilo, and then he came back and took over the world, so get out in front of this, send him away for a little while where fans can keep track of him, but like have him like kind of as a character, like crater from losing these matches and then do a redemption arc with him. People love that shit, and Tsuji's older than him too. So like get what you can out of Tsuji while he's gone, like give that a shot. All right, so that's Wrestle Kingdom, which has probably already happened while you're listening to this. So this was what we were thinking the night of Wrestle Kingdom. But we're moving on, and we're moving on to Wrestle Dynasty, which will be if you're listening on Saturday, the whatever the 4th, if you're listening Saturday the 4th, Wrestle Dynasty's tonight, and this is the first big in Japan co-branded New Japan and AEW with CMLL Ring of Honor talent. This is a huge deal, in my opinion, to follow Wrestle Dynasty with this show. I'm so excited about this partnership, and there's a ton of matches on this card, and we are, let's just jump into it. You guys feel ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We have an International Women's Cup Final 4-way match. I'm annoyed that this is on the pre-show. It's Willow Nightingale representing AEW versus Persephone from CMLL versus Athena from ROH versus Momo Watanabe from Stardom. What are we thinking? Who do we got? Joshi, why don't you hit it?
Sure. Let's see here. I've thought a lot about this one, so I'm freaking excited for this match. I think it's going to be really, really strong. As for who wins this, I think it would make a lot of sense for Athena to win this one. That's my prediction. The reason I say this is because if she's going to keep staying in ROH, maybe this could be her way to get like a title shot, like a TBS title shot or the Women's World title shot or something along those lines. I think that would be a good way for her to get back into AEW. So that's my pick. But, you never know. I mean, I don't think it's going to be Willow. I'm going with Athena. I think this would make sense because that way she could challenge for whatever title that she wants, and we can get her back in AEW, or I don't know, maybe she'll decide to challenge Iwatani and you see her in New Japan again. I think that would be a great match. So that's my pick.
Antoine?
This is a hard match for me to pick because it's one that I'm excited for, really excited for. But I also know one thing, and I had to think about this, is Forbidden Door is to AEW as Wrestle Dynasty is to New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some home cooking, I would assume, with it being in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see, though, here, Momo Watanabe winning, even though she is absolutely deserving. She is a member of 8 from Stardom. I really want it to be Athena so she can run around and brag to the entire world that she's the best in the world, literally, because I think that would just be hilarious and it would give so much legs to her character going along.
Yeah.
If they're smart, what they could do is end up with a situation where Willow wins, thereby she can use that as her way of becoming another challenger either for the TBS title or for the AEW Women's World Championship.
Or she could challenge Iwatani, actually.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I totally see the logic there of Momo winning. She is absolutely deserving of it. Incredible wrestler. I'm going to go with Athena. I think that Athena gains the most from winning the match personally. Willow's, one of those baby faces that is like, a Ricky Steamboat or a Tanahashi, like
indestructible.
Losing just doesn't hurt her, and Persephone can take the fall, So I think it will probably be Athena or Momo, but I'm just gonna guess Athena.
So the next match is for the tag team. It's the tag team match for the ROH World Tag Team Championship. So we have the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, versus House of Torture, Sho, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, sorry. So, okay, I'll start with you, iBlade. Who do you think's going to win? Are you looking forward to this match? Fill me in.
No, I am not looking forward to this match. I don't care.
I don't care.
I know that Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara are going to win.
Antoine?
Next.
What do you think?
Really, he just summed it up. I don't care. I just there was no build up. The match actually got announced by a vignette of House of Torture out of nowhere at a New Japan show, talking about wanting to take the titles from Ring of Honor, and it was confusing to me because I went, "Why didn't they just do that on Ring of Honor?"
Right.
And they didn't even, the Sons of Texas didn't even address it until the night of Final Battle. Or if I'm mistaken, it was on last night's episode of Ring of Honor. They finally addressed the challenge.
Right.
So it's kind of it's hastily thrown together. It has no place other than to fill space on the card, and to have Ring of Honor represented. I really think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that the Sons of Texas lose these titles, especially on a side note, after the way that Ty Mello performed at New Year's Dream for Stardom, and her coming back, Sammy having the titles is something nice to come back home to when she officially comes back to AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah, side note, she did look really good in her her return performance for Stardom. I thought incredible.
I agree with both of you, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, our next match is going to be an interesting one because it's really dependent to me on what happens the night before. So Zack Sabre Jr. is going to face Ricochet. Really excited for this match. Ricochet's got a much better ground game than I think a lot of people realize. This dude can do submission wrestling pretty well. I've seen him do it. Actually saw him do it in NXT of all places in a few matches where he showed he had quite more to his game than he usually shows. But I think this makes a difference if Zack Sabre is the world champion still or not. They're not saying it's a title match on what I'm looking at. So I don't think that will matter too much. What do you guys think? Who do you predict here, Antoine?
I think you're right. I think it depends a lot on what happens the night before. But I also think the level of gravitas that they could get from having the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship defended against an AEW wrestler, it's too good to pass up. So I sort of do think those results from those two shows are linked, no matter how we may want to pull them apart. And you are very right. When it comes to Ricochet, he's already had a chance to prove it in AEW that he is a much, much better wrestler than WWE ever used him as. So he never got to really stretch it, and he's got to really stretch it here in AEW. And there is no better wrestler who I think right now can serve up a amazing challenge and even put that doubt in your head that they just might win it better than Ricochet, while also being a challenger, you can say, who can take the loss and it not hurt them whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Zach's going to win this one. I don't think he's losing to Ricochet. And Or it might go to a draw because New Japan is fine with draws. So I think it's one or the other. Now that Ricochet is a heel, maybe he'll go crazy at towards the end of the match and do something to get himself disqualified. Maybe Swerve shows up and gets revenge. I don't know. I think there's so much you could do with Ricochet, and a loss wouldn't hurt him. A draw wouldn't hurt him. I think he'd be perfectly fine. He's just red hot right now. I don't think Zach should be losing though. I don't think that would be a great look. Keep him undefeated for a while. So that's my theory. I think it would be really freaking cool though if Swerve shows up and I don't know, like he just beats the heck out of Ricochet. They just show like, okay, watch AEW to see what's coming or something like that.
Yep. I think that the angle this week with Swerve kind of makes this match different than I would have thought before, right? Because like now Ricochet's got a totally different persona. He's obviously had it with people clowning on him. He's had it with MVP calling him a kiss ass, and Ricochet went absolutely ape shit on Dynamite. And I think that makes this match really interesting. So if Ricochet loses, I think he'll do something crazy. I too, Joshi, was kind of curious. Maybe Swerve shows up to either cost him the match somehow or after the match to ratchet up their feud, which could be nuclear after this match. Who knows? But I think Zach will go over. I think Zach winning is probably the right call here.
So the next match is a very exciting one. So singles match for the Never Openweight Championship and the AEW International Championship. So the winner of the Takeshita Shingo Takagi match faces Tomohiro Ishii. So I think it's going to be Takeshita Ishii, and Takeshita's going to win this one as well. And I think it's going to be a hard-hitting, beautiful match. Blade?
I feel the exact same way. We've seen Takagi versus Ishii many times. And I don't think it would matter if it was Takagi or Takeshita. I think whoever enters the match as the double champ is going to be Ishii. What about you, Antoine?
This is, to me, the Konosuke Takeshita showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to wrestle Shingo and then the next night wrestling Tomohiro Ishii, known to be as the hardest hitters, known to really take that idea of strong style to another level. This, to me, is the big money match. There's only so much you can do with, even though it has been a few years, there's only so much you can do with another Shingo and Tomohiro Ishii match.
Right.
And this would be so fresh and so exciting. And Tomohiro is another one of those guys who a loss means nothing to him.
Yeah.
So it's all about how are we going to get there? And that, to me, is the best part of the journey. So I'm picking Konosuke Takeshita.
Mm-hmm. We all agree.
Yes. Next match is going to be, I think this is going to be a real good one. Yota Tsuji versus Jack Perry. I will add that Jack Perry's last New Japan match was a match against Shota Umino, who is the other, guy rising up the card real fast. And I believe he lost. So I find that somewhat interesting. So what do you guys think? Antoine?
I did find that interesting as well. I've always kept that in mind. Are they trying to use Jack Perry as somewhat of I don't want to say enhancement talent, but as someone who can help their younger guys really grow? And I really liked the build. I actually have enjoyed it. I enjoyed the vignette interviews that are up on NewJapanWorld.com. They did one with Jack Perry that was about 5 minutes or so long. And I didn't know he was such a great salesperson, too. He did a great job of selling the app, but this is going to be interesting to me. How much is the House of Torture going to get involved?
Mhm.
Because Jack Perry is a member of the House of Torture. And how much do you want to have? If my prediction was that Yoda is going to lose the first night, how much are you going to have him lose back to back?
Mhm.
Are we going to do the same thing? Is he going to lose back to back and then he needs to go away for a while? No, I think he saves it at least here and goes 1-for-1 over the weekend. So I'm picking Yoda Shuji.
I agree. I think Yoda will take this.
I think Yoda Suji is gonna take it as well.
Quick note. Jack actually did wrestle for New Japan in California at Long Beach.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember who he wrestled at this very moment. But when the Young Bucks came in at the end of his match, they kind of teased a little dissension there. And so I wonder if that will play into any of this. Just an interesting note.
And not only did they do it there, but on a couple of the road to New Japan, on the road to Wrestle Kingdom shows, they had backstage interviews with Jack Perry and the Young Bucks that were not as friendly as they normally would be. Not angry, but almost as if the Young Bucks were dismissive of him and he kind of didn't want them around. So they're planting the seeds of something to come. What it is, I have no idea, but something's coming.
Right. Joshi?
All right. So the next match is the one that I'm most excited about because it features my favorite wrestler ever from North Carolina. No, he's from Winnipeg, Manitoba, obviously. But so Kenny Omega, the return of the greatest wrestler ever versus Gabe Kidd. So I'm just going to say this real quick. There's no way Kenny Omega is losing this match. I'm super stoked to see him wrestle after so freaking long. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how he does in the ring. I'm sure he's going to be excellent. As we know, Kenny's a freak of nature. So it's not like he's ever not going to be good at wrestling, but I just want to see if he's had to like change his style a little bit or anything like that. But I am so excited. I missed him very much. His matches always put me in a good mood. So, Antoine, how are you feeling about this match? Who do you think's winning this one?
Well, first, he's coming back from a major health complications. I think he's washed up, personally. No, just getting back.
I know what you're going back at me. I knew it. It's okay. I deserve that. And I said, I do love Naito. Damn it. It's all Eyeblade's fault. I love Naito. I do. He just needs to recover.
That was one of the greatest moments in the history of this great sport. God damn it. That was
Bro,
great.
you got that look on your face and it was like, ooh, shit.
I was like, I knew it. I know what you're doing now. He's washed. Kenny Omega's washed up. Her favorite wrestler ever. I deserved it.
Seriously, though, I'm so happy for him because there is no more poetic justice place to come back than New Japan.
Yes.
Sorry, AEW. Sorry, AEW. There was no other place he should come back. That's where his career grew. That's where the fans treated him and loved him as one of their own. He knows fluent Japanese. He maintains a home in Japan. I could go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But probably one of the things, Joshi, you said it best was, I wonder how his style is going to change. I can't imagine he can go at full speed like he always has anymore. You just can't. And how is he going to adjust? The perfect wrestler to wrestle against, one that I abhorrently don't like, Gabriel Kidd. Good young talent, member of the Bullet Club War Dogs. Um, he was a young lion up until about 3 years ago. So I see a lot of what they want to make for their American wrestlers, or not even their American wrestlers, excuse me, but for their non-Japanese wrestlers. They're really banking on Gabriel Kidd. I don't like his ringside manner, just on a side note. But they did show us a little bit of the backstage fight, finally, the one that was just heard about. And so that was very interesting. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that he called him out, that he called Kenny Omega out, because it's something you didn't see coming. And it's an opponent you don't see coming. But although it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard, and I think Kenny picked someone who he knew is going to be rough as hell with him. This is not going to be for the faint of heart. I'm picking Kenny Omega.
Yay!
For sure.
Kenny Omega is one of one. The pro wrestling industry is much better with him in it when he's active and not injured. I think Kenny is going to try to be Kenny Omega. He's going to, Kenny has already adjusted his style somewhat since his days in New Japan, to wrestle on American television partly, and to preserve his body, I think. But this guy has a level of explosiveness that is legendary and in many ways has never been seen before. I think he's definitely going to beat Greg Kidd. And yes, I called him Greg on purpose. I think it's going to be a fun match. And yes, I agree with you, Antoine. I think he picked somebody who will rough him up and scare people, basically. I think that's part of the plan here.
And I can't wait to hear the fans say, Kenny, Kenny, again. I love that. Kenny.
Who doesn't? Yeah. Next match, we got Shota Umino versus Claudio Castagnoli. Kind of an interesting matchup when you consider what I predicted could be the case earlier. The story they're telling is that Moxley is disappointed in Shota and sent Claudio to go finish him off. Will he? What do you think?
That's essentially what the story is. I really enjoyed the vignette that Claudio did to explain why he was coming to New Japan to wrestle Shota. Mm-hmm. And I do admit, you won me over a little bit with what needs to happen with Shota. But I think this is the time where he has a chance to really, in the fans' eyes and in his own eyes, redeem himself, because we can't be the only people who know that he's not ready for a championship match. Mm-hmm. So, though he takes the loss at Wrestle Kingdom, I think he takes the win at Wrestle Dynasty. However hard it takes for him to get it, it's not going to be very easy. Mm-hmm. And it could be even a roll-up. But I do believe he redeems himself and gets the win.
That seems like a logical after losing to Zach the night before.
Yeah, I think Shota is winning this one. He's not going to lose 2 nights in a row. Especially because they want to build him more. It would make sense for him to beat Claudio. And beating Claudio is not a small accomplishment. I mean, Claudio's a big, tough guy. So it is a big deal. And plus, Claudio is one of Moxley's closest friends. So it would be a great way to show Mox, like, hey, I can hang toe-to-toe with you guys. I'm not scared of you. So I think the message would be very clear, and maybe we'd get Mox Umino down the line, and Umino could beat him. Mm-hmm. So the next match is a singles match. It's David Finlay versus Brody King. Please, Brody King, win this match. That's all I'm going to say. Antoine?
I want to echo those sentiments so bad, so bad. I'm trying to be logical on this one, because I really want Brody King to win. I really want it. Um, he killed it in the C2 again. Don't care about the points. He's on a trajectory for deserving of a singles championship. And I don't think he's on the trajectory. He's already there. Everybody loves him. Everybody barks in the crowd. And it's not because he's the prettiest and he's the nicest. It's because he's the baddest. But he's bad with a sense of honor. He's basically the exact opposite of his opponent, David Finlay, who has none of those things. And the only redeeming quality I can give with David Finlay is that he does work well with really big men, which is why he works so well with Yota Tsuji. He works well with larger guys of his stature. So
I think that I'm actually excited for this match because I think that David Finlay and Brody is a very interesting matchup because it's two guys who are like not entirely different in stature. Like they're kind of similar size. Like Brody's bigger, but not like way bigger, like he usually is. And so I think this could be a sleeper, really good match. It's not going to change how I feel about David Finlay as a wrestling character, but I think this could be a really good match. I'm going to favor David Finlay just because Brody can take the loss and it really doesn't matter. And I think David Finlay will probably win, but man, couldn't agree with you more about Brody. Like this guy is ready to break out. Let him break out. It's time.
Oh, I agree.
Much agreed.
Yeah, I think Finley's probably going to win it, but I would like Brody to, for sure.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I'm ready for Brody.
Yeah, let's hope for a big singles push for Brody to come in 2025. He definitely deserves it.
Now,
I 100% echo both of you.
Now, Antoine, I'm going to need you to explain this to me because I'm very confused by this, okay? Tag team match for the vacant IWGP Tag Team Championship. Great-O-Khan and a partner to be announced versus the Young Bucks. Why is the title vacant?
Okay. This is just such a fun little conundrum. The titles are vacant because during the World Tag League, Great-O-Khan and Hinare are the champions. They went into Tag League as the champions. However, Hinare suffered a really, really bad looking leg injury that meant he had to pull out from the World Tag League immediately and therefore could not defend the tag team titles at all, as the champions are supposed to do at Wrestle Kingdom. Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito won Tag League and usually would be the champions challenging them. However, with them wanting to face each other, the Young Bucks are now over here as the challengers, and New Japan, if your partner does get hurt, automatically strips you of the tag team titles. No 30-day rule, no 60-day rule, no 90-day rule. They automatically strip you. And so now he has to essentially, Great-O-Khan has to find himself another partner to go against the Young Bucks with to defend the IWGP Tag Team Championships.
So, Antoine, who do you think that partner will be?
I have been trying to come up with a good partner since the injury. and I have not been able to. One that keeps coming to my mind is Minoru Suzuki. I don't know why he keeps coming up. I think Jeff Cobb is a good possibility. I'm trying to think within the faction, but if I had to pick anybody, it'd be only Jeff Cobb.
Me too. That's who I'm thinking. Jeff Cobb.
Outside of those two, your guess is as good as mine. It could be Kaito Kiyomiya for all I know.
Yeah, you never know. And who do you think wins this? Do the Bucks
I don't
win
think
the titles?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think that it matters.
Yeah.
Because the Young Bucks are going to win the titles anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Which is good for New Japan, I think, honestly, because the Bucks can come back to Japan and wrestle on those cards for a few months and probably put a shot in the arm for New Japan, you know? Do you think there's any chance, and I mean any chance, that Kenny Omega is the mystery partner to get revenge on the Bucks?
No chance at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
2 matches in one night.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And he's coming back to AEW next week, so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's going to be safe for AEW.
Yeah.
One thing that makes me really think they're going to win is because in their interview for Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, they mentioned Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito and said that they were going to come after them. So that to me also does play into the fact that they've got future challengers already.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to win that one, which would be cool. I think the Bucks and NJPW for a little while would benefit their tag team division a lot.
They also seem super stoked to be in front of a New Japan crowd in Long Beach when they came out. So I think there's something alluring about the idea to them, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so the next match. Very, very, very excited for this one. So it's winner takes all match for the Strong Women's Championship and the Undisputed British Women's Championship. So Mercedes Moné, the Strong Champion, versus Mina Shirakawa, the British Women's Champion. So, Antoine, how are you feeling about this match? Who do you predict wins this?
It should be the main event of the entire show. That's how I feel about this match.
It's not. I thought it was main eventing. It's not?
If it's not, it needs to be.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wasn't sure if it was or if it wasn't, but if it's not, it should be the main event. I got a chance to watch the actual New Japan show where Monet had the best match of the year 2024, in my opinion, with Hazuki. And Mina got to work with younger talent on her side, and they have an obvious like and respect for each other. But what makes it the most intriguing match of the show is you're talking about two ladies who are really at the height of their powers, their career, their popularity, everything. The world is Mina's and the world is Mercedes. And I was very shocked that they made it a double title match. But I just don't see anybody stopping Mercedes right now. This is a part of her mission, is to make women's wrestling global, is to make women's wrestling more than just your company and for women. And I think she has a chance to do that here by taking those belts off of Mina. And sure, it's going to be a hectic travel schedule, but having her appear for Rev Pro, for New Japan, and for AEW is just better for everybody. So I'm picking Mercedes here.
The new belt collector.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked about it on the pod a while ago, Joshi, is Mercedes is kind of the Kenny Omega of the women's wrestling right now. And who better to be a belt collector than Mercedes Moné? She's the ultimate mountain to climb for any woman in the world. Okay? Like, you have to be Mayu Iwatani to stand a chance, you know?
Yeah.
And I agree with Antoine. I think she's going to take it.
I agree with both of you. I think Mercedes takes it, continues to globalize women's wrestling, and I think she's the right person to represent, I guess, women's wrestling in all these different promotions. And she did want to wrestle in England, actually. She mentioned she really wanted to wrestle there. And I don't just mean at All In. I mean for British promotion. So this is a really great opportunity for her.
Mm-hmm.
And the loss isn't going to hurt Mina at all.
No.
But I think this is going to be a great match. They better make this the main event because I think it's a big chance for AEW and for New Japan to really show they're putting their money where their mouth is. You know, like we are putting the focus on women's wrestling. To headline a show with the level of star power that's on it with Mercedes versus Mina, that's huge. That's huge.
I'm pretty sure they're headlining because at the press conference that they had earlier today, Mercedes said we're headlining Wrestle Dynasty. So
that's awesome.
That's my understanding, unless I misunderstood or that was her impression. But it seems like that's going to be the main event, which is so well deserved. So yeah. Well, hopefully I'm not wrong though, but that's what I understood when I listened to her. So
it's the right decision. It's the match with the most anticipation by far.
Yeah.
There is also an 8-man Lucha Gauntlet match that will feature 4 to-be-determined New Japan wrestlers and 4 CMLL wrestlers. I'm going to make a prediction for the group here that a wrestler to be determined will win the match. And I feel pretty safe in making that prediction. Antoine, it has been such a pleasure to have you with us for this episode of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we want you to come back and be a guest again in the future. I hope you want to do that. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out? Anything you'd like to promote?
If I may, it was a pleasure to be on. I am a listener also of the show, especially when I'm exercising on the weekends. So you guys keep me company in my ear. And I certainly would love to come back. I'd like to go ahead and if you reach out to me on Threads, Instagram, or Facebook, I'm under Antione Raphael. I do write poetry. Coming soon will be my site, MrRaphael.com, and I am working on hopefully becoming actually published. But I'd like to give a shout out to my brother, New Negro, Adrian Williams, and to my sister, Bright Eyes, Aurora. Love you both. One's an all-time wrestling fan. The other's a newbie who I'm glad to have ensnared in our trap.
Hell yes. Hell yes. What up, Adrian? All right. Well, this has been a fascinating discussion. So happy to have a genuine New Japan expert to talk with us about what's coming up this weekend, the biggest weekend in Japanese wrestling. That it's not just New Japan either, folks. DDT had a big event. Stardom had a big event the night before we taped this. I've watched most of both of them. I watched all of Stardom and most of DDT. Super fun events. Konosuke Takeshita teamed with Jun Akiyama in DDT. So definitely go check that out. We will be back next week to talk all things AEW as we normally do. But for now, we'll get at you. I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G. Thank you again, Antoine, for joining us.
And I am Antione Raphael.
Pro wrestling forever. out of here, Jack Perry.